Hello all. Welcome to the PIPCAST 3000, a bi-weekly podcast where we talk about gaming news and usually have a Bethesda-centric topic. This is episode 115. Happens every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm joined by my co-host, BADCompanySarge.
Hello there.
And I'm Caedo Genesis. I did that way out of order. Hey, so this is the Q&A episode, the first ever Q&A episode that we're doing when we gathered questions via public posts. Sarge's got seen like not at all. He got screwed by the algorithm. So we're mainly relying on my own. And we have a few questions from you. No telling how short this episode is going to be due to, you know, the Q&A nature of this, but we'll see what happens. Maybe some fun rants later on the topic.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we have a question from our last episode where we went over our favorite uniques, or our best uniques that came to mind. What was that comment from last episode, Sarge?
That comment was by someone whose name I do not know how to pronounce, so I'm going to say Miein Bosma, maybe, says, "Why did you two skip so many weapons?" And, hey, technically it's a question, so we're throwing it in as comment of the cast as well.
Yeah.
We weren't going to talk about every single unique. Last episode was 1 hour 53 minutes. Having a quick check at that. If we talked about every single unique from all of the games, we'd be looking at like a 4 or 5 hour podcast.
Yeah.
We have to skip a lot of weapons.
If you've listened regularly to previous episodes too, even if we say we're going to rapid fire things, I'm very bad at that.
I don't think it's uniquely a you thing. I think I'm good at like moving on. Because when we have guests on as well, I'm often the one being like, and here now we're moving forward and just shoving people towards the next topic.
Yep. Here's the segue. I'm giving you a segue, guys. Yep.
There's just a lot of weapons. We had to skip most of them. And we were just talking about our favourites as well. A lot of uniques, either in the modern games, aren't actually unique, or in the older games, just aren't that great.
Yeah. The Shurong Chinese pistol is one of the ones that's like great concept, really bad execution. Because it's the weakest gun in Fallout 3, and it has a fire effect that is not modified by anything. So you're getting, 5 damage out of it, if that, and maybe a slight damage over time of 5 more damage. Something along those lines. The break, the pool cue that nobody uses or sees or needs to. There's plenty of examples of things that just suck that, we don't need to really talk about unless it's a full list. And that would go against the whole best title I used. I try not to be misleading. Yeah. So that's why we skipped so many.
The only 2 YouTubers who don't clickbait.
The only
and you can take my word for that as true.
Yeah. If you disagree, prove it. Raise our engagement.
Yeah. Anyway, that was one question. We will have more questions coming at the end. I made a joke about stabbing people in the pre-recording session, but I can't remember what it was, so...
Oh, stick around or I'll stab you or something like that?
Oh, yeah, that was it. I was doing the stick around or I'll stab you sort of thing. Yeah. So, do that. Or else.
Yeah. Or else.
You have been threatened quite clearly as well.
Yep.
Don't need the or else. Or stabbed. There we go. Those are your choices.
It's right through your headphones. Just... Yep.
Anyway, you know what hasn't involved stabbing? God. Nope, that's bad. Starfield.
Oh, am I supposed to take that one? Okay.
Yeah, I gave up.
Starfield had 3 surprise animated trailers come out a few days ago. And I wasn't really expecting this because they already kind of had their way of presenting stuff with either like concept art and just talking over it with a little bit of motion in there, or just gameplay footage, because they have a lot of that they've shown already. But in this case, these are full-on straight-up animated shorts going over different kinds of backgrounds, I want to say.
Yeah.
Of what you can do in Starfield. The series is called The Settled Systems. One is called Supra et Ultra. Another is called Where Hope is Built. And the final one is The Hand That Feeds. And all of these have a very similar vibe to the life paths of Cyberpunk. But as far as I can tell, they were presenting us with things that hopefully are in the game. There was one question that I had for one of them.
Is it about the mechs?
Yep.
It's always about the mechs. I saw basically nothing about this online because I've not been online much since this came out. But the only question I've seen is, so we're getting mechs in Starfield, are we? Because, was it the hands that feed? No, it was
Where Hope is built. Yeah.
Yeah, we get to see like a flashback of this kid whose parents were fighting in mechs.
They were mech pilots!
Yeah!
That's a sick background. But we don't know if we can control mechs. However, we didn't really see a conversion of the power armor system in Fallout 4.
No, although interestingly, I had someone comment about spacesuits in Starfield. And they were like, I don't like playing in power armor in Fallout 4, so why would I want to be in a spacesuit in Starfield all the time? And they were theorizing that that would be a similar sort of thing.
Interesting. What I was thinking is that if they already have like a mechanical mounting system.
Yeah.
After making the power armor system in Fallout 4, so I imagine that wouldn't just be thrown away as something that they can do. Whether if the mechs are a thing, it'd be really funny to see how stretched out our limbs get again.
I mean,
with whatever kind of bug comes along with
I
it.
doubt the mechs are pilotable in any way. I imagine them to be like old relics of the past that have been mostly destroyed. I mean, even in the little animation thing we've got, they are like super bare bones pencil sketched. Like, they barely even exist in this little animation thing. And it's full of a flashback they do that, but there's like no real detail to them. You just get like some shapes. And that signifies the mech. And it's very basic, whereas everything else we get in colour, we get actual detail. It's almost got a concept art feel, a lot of the other stuff, especially the backgrounds. Whereas the mechs are just like, hey, I drew a square and then some other squares. It is now a mech. It's just very basic line work. So
okay. Well, so you're against it, sounds like.
I'm not against it.
You're against mechs, you're a mech hater. I see how it is. I'm feeling feisty today. I'm sorry.
I literally told people who were looking forward to Starfield to go play MechWarrior.
MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although personally, probably my favourite overall, or at least the one I spent the most time, was MechWarrior 4, the Black Knight expansion, because MechWarrior 4 is actually called Vengeance, but Black Knight's great. Because it lets you be a mercenary, which is what MechWarrior 5 then went into. So, yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, back to Starfield. Did you have something else to add on the mechs?
I was just going to ask the commenters what their prediction is. Do you think there will be mechs that are utilizing the power armor system? Or do you think they were just used for the flashback for this one little snippet of a backstory and will never be seen again?
Yeah. But seeing is all you get to do with these trailers, because there's no voice acting to them.
Nope.
It's all visual storytelling. You even get at one point with the flashback lady where, like, she helps out a farmer or someone, I guess, by the looks of him. He's out in the kind of countryside, and he, like, offers her some money, which we see what money looks like. Credit sticks, I guess you'd call them, or whatever. They're just, like, rectangles with rounded edges and holes at each side. They look like
keychains. No,
I was gonna say not what gets put on your wrist when you're arrested. I've forgotten the word for them. Handcuffs. They look like finger cuffs. If you've ever seen finger cuffs, the ones that go around the little finger and the thumb, they look like that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like that, and she's given one of them and then hands it back to the person and just wrenches out a spaceship part and is like, oh, and it's taking that instead.
Yep.
Yeah. For those who weren't able to figure out the story, the description does actually contain what's happening, which is nice.
Oh, I didn't catch that part, yeah.
Okay,
her name is Vanna.
I'm gonna read them out, because Supra et Ultra first is in the city of New Atlantis, capital of the United Colonies. Kent, a courier pilot, aspires to live in the most desirable part of the settled systems. After joining the UC Vanguard and working his way up to the capital's elite, Kent quickly realizes the adventures waiting for him off-planet are what he truly longed for.
Whoa.
So this is... I didn't mean to do the voice, but I needed... Like, I had something stuck in my throat and was like, cool, we'll use that. This is like a delivery guy. Yeah, basic delivery guy who's been like, yeah, I'm going to be a space captain.
You can play as a courier?
Yeah, you get to be a courier.
And if you try, you can get shot in the head, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see him with that. Then we do have Flashback Lady, who's Vanna, an Aquila City orphan of the famous colony wars, mechs fighting, pew, 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 pew.
Yep.
Desperately wants to explore the stars, and only one thing stands in her way, a broken ship. Her search for repair parts leads her throughout the city, and into some unexpected danger as she closes in on her dream. And from this one, the main thing I got wasn't, oh, we're gonna get to fly mechs. It was, you might get, like, choice of rewards, potentially, at the end state of some quests. That's what I'd hope for from this. So you could get the spaceship part, or you can get some credits. Like, that's my biggest hope out of this entire thing, actually, is choice of end rewards.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, I think.
And the final one, which is the Cyberpunk one. This is the one that's just fully, oh, this is Cyberpunk.
It's just Cyberpunk, yeah.
Because it is Neon. What's a Cyberpunk voice?
Come on, do the robot thing.
To Neon... No, that's not Cyberpunk. Just two neon street rats, Ada and Harper, are partners in crime, eking out a living stealing from the wealthy partygoers that come to the Pleasure City to let loose. When Ada is forced into a moral dilemma, she quickly catches the attention of the all-seeing Ryujin Industries, bringing her an exciting new opportunity, but at what cost? So yeah, this one is the one I thought was most fun, enjoyable, most interesting to watch. Because Mailman just flies his own ship and earns money. Fair enough. Kid with backstory smacks a guy and gets a spaceship part. You know, there's something there. This one was actually like, oh, okay, there's narrative, there's more to go. Because you see these two fighting and progression. This one was like the cutscene thing that you get towards the start of Cyberpunk. When you start off on a small job and then it goes bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but
That's
it's not.
This.
But it's not in the game. It's just a separate promotional thing. Well, it might be in the game. I mean, I shouldn't say that like that, but like, I know that you're going to be able to experience your prologue or whatever.
Yeah.
Without this montage of bullcrap that you can never play, which still drives me insane from Cyberpunk.
Yeah. But we get a nice choice here as the two friends do fall out, and one of them's trying to, like, rob this Ryujin Industries guy, and the other one ends up helping him instead. And it seemed like another clear decision sort of thing which you get to make. I mean, even the courier one had the accept or decline button show up in, like, an agreement thing. Each of these seems to have a very clear one of two decisions that the person in it, or the people in it, make, which is reassuring, I'd say. Each of them specifically have, like, choices that are made.
These in particular just made me, you know, more excited for what I can do in Starfield, mainly. I just thought it was a little too on the nose for, like, it's showing 3 backgrounds and they are very similar to what the Street Kid Corpo and not Outsider, the freaking Wastelander folks.
Yeah, I wanted to say Redneck, because essentially the Cyberpunk equivalent of them, but I can't think of a name. I even picked them, that was my background, and I can't remember it. Yeah.
That means they're super memorable, right?
I mean, I will say there's huge Cyberpunk comparisons with everything going on at Neon, and we already know some of the backgrounds are, like, Cyberpunk sort of themed. There's going to be similarities. That just seems to be something they've fully gone in for.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with that. I like the idea of there being a cyberpunk element, because we got a space cowboy element as well, We've got an explorer kind of thing. There seems to be several different themes going on, and I'm cool with that. It's a great sign for builds, and should vary up things quite nicely.
It seems like there's with the kind of game this is, like there's more of a like options for environments and kind of like theming than you would get in like a full-on, you know, fantasy game. Fallout got as far as like weird science stuff, aliens and theme parks, but still has to circle back to the wasteland part. Whereas some planets are wastelands, some are utopias. Some are real pretty, some are trying to kill you. It's gonna be great. You should check those out if you haven't already, and you're listening and want more reason to dream about what Starfield's gonna be.
All three of them are nice and short as well. Like, watching them combined is going to take like 10 minutes out of your day.
Something that will take more than 10 minutes out of your day is trying to determine, is this Twitter post just gone now? No. Some topic of conversation became very hot. It's about AAA developers talking about Baldur's Gate 3 being more of an exception instead of a rule. And that players or gamers in general should not really expect that level of focus and, I guess, quality and dedication that Larian Studios has shown in comparison to full AAA publishers, developers. And I think the main, and just by saying that, you can tell why this kind of becomes an interesting topic, is because a lot of AAA developers got behind this sentiment and were saying that, this is not really something you should expect going forward. Like, we don't feel like they should be setting the bar because of many different factors, which they eventually get into. But a lot of people on Twitter, because it, was on Twitter also, kind of treated it like a, why is high quality a bad thing, kind of thing, like oversimplifying the whole kind of topic, which, like, that's where the topic went for the people that got angry about it, because they didn't really read into what the actual thing was. But it's more along the lines of Larian Studios being one of the few independent, I dare say, AAA studios where they're not beholden to their shareholders or their higher ups, because the higher up is directing the game that they're making, which and everybody is kind of on board with the vision of the game. You see things also like that kind of fell through, like Anthem. A lot of people were really hyped for that game, but because of mismanagement, being jerked around by both the publishers and the leadership in development, having to make waste time to make like promotional material that didn't really reflect what the game actually was, kind of thing. Like, Anthem became this hodgepodge mess that never really got its full due. But that's an example on the other side of why sometimes it doesn't quite work out in the way that we would hope when it comes to like our own standards. But that also brings up the topic of independent studios and developers in general, and how much we need to support them, because that's where we get the new and cool stuff a lot of the time. The new novel ideas in game development. You see and hear about, I'm guessing anyway, the generic listener in my head, you see and hear a lot of things about like these game jams that come out with cool things. Like Surgeon Simulator came out of a game jam. And it's like swept gaming. It's like huge YouTubers are just like, this is the goofiest freaking game I've ever played, And I think there was one like that was conceptualized. It's still on my wish list, so it's never been released. It's called Last Man Sitting, which is a bunch of people in office chairs sit around and they can propel themselves with shotguns, and you got to shoot other people with shotguns and stuff. It's a goofy concept. But like the innovative stuff that we hope for is going to come out from those things, and those, going back to, I guess, the post is I feel like we're drawing too different of a comparison between what AAA does when it plays it safe and what we expect in innovation sense, because publishers definitely dump money into stupid ideas, but a lot of the time they do play it safe because money is the priority, and which is unfortunate. Whereas in an indie dev's case, a lot of the time, if not most of the time, it's passion based. It's, we want to present this to the world, and I hope to see this vision to completion. I obviously had a lot to say about and have been thinking about it a lot. I don't know, did you have anything else to add, Sarge? I feel like I just stole the show.
I have quite a few things to say. I'm not sure if they relate to what you've said at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was looking for it in there and like nothing matched up anyway. But this is a very interesting thread by at @RittNelson on Twitter. One of the line in here I love most of all is describing the gaming industry as, "We are an industry dangling elephants over cliffs, pointing at the ones that don't collapse under their own weight as indictments to the ones that do." Which I love. That is a very fun visual kind of metaphor for just being like, yeah, don't treat the exceptions as like everything else is bad. And I think there's like a whole kind of sentiment online of it's either brilliant or terrible. Gamers don't allow for things to be in between.
I think that's generally a social media thing too.
Yeah. I see it the most with gaming, because I think especially because games get review scores and stuff, and they're very easy to just be like, IGN, a 7 out of 10 sort of thing. There's yeah. I feel like within the gaming sphere, there's a lot more shorthand towards it, where regardless of it all, it's just, yeah. Some games aren't going to be the biggest, most exciting thing ever, and that is fine. And this whole thread is essentially, don't expect the next game to be bigger and better constantly. And don't expect things to constantly just be improving in every obvious way. Like, there's something to be said for plateauing as well. Just making a game that's as good as your last game, but not better, is a fine thing to do. But that's almost not allowed. Your next game has to be better than the last one. You constantly have to be improving. And that's just not always possible. And then if you make something that's worse, rather than it being judged on its own merit, it's like, but you made a good game before. How dare you betray us by making something I don't enjoy as much? There's a lot of pressure put on all developers, and that kind of sucks. Those are some of my thoughts, very scrambled up, that relate towards this thread.
I don't know if I fully agree with your thoughts on it, but again, that's why I kind of brought it up, because it is, something that is interesting to think about at the very least. I've largely been an indie lover since I first laid my eyes on Bastion. Like, it's ridiculous how good some indie projects turn out to be, how amazing some indie projects turn out to be.
Last game I was playing was an indie game, Chained Echoes, which you've started playing already, right, Caedo?
No, I didn't.
What?
Sorry.
But I thought you said you loved indie games. You must be lying if you've not played Chained Echoes yet.
You claim to be an indie lover, but you haven't played the one indie you must play.
Yeah, come on, man.
But like some of my now favorite games have largely been indies, or I can't tell if I can call Hellblade an indie, because it was marketed as AA too.
I think that's an interesting point as well. The gap between big AAA and indie, and the weird space they live in. Yeah, where it's like you don't get the added leeway of being like an indie developer, but you also don't get the resources of being a AAA studio, which puts you in a very strange position. I if I had more time, I would have like gone on Ninja Theory's website and be like, are they still independent, or are they like funded by someone? Or well, Xbox promoted them, so I'm guessing they're one of Xbox's studios then. Yeah,
maybe.
They're an Xbox game studio and Argonaut Games.
I just want Hellblade 2.
Oh god.
But it
they've
seems
had a
like
lot
they're
of
getting...
games. They did Croc and Croc 2
Oh,
and Bionicle. Wow.
Ninja Theory?
Argonaut, who owns them, apparently. It seems like they're now...
That gets confusing.
It's one of those many, many things where a company owns another company that's owned by another company.
You know, one company that owns another company, but they're kind of the same name.
Oh god. Yeah. I always forget that's the case.
That's your topic, Sarge.
Yeah, it's CDPR, CD Projekt Red, which might be the developer, might be the company. I can't make heads nor tail of it.
CD Projekt is the publisher.
Is the
CD
publisher.
Projekt Red is the developer, or the studio.
I mean, to be fair, Bethesda's kind of the same.
Yes.
So, there's that.
True.
But with Bethesda, I feel at least it's because there's other studios who are more clearly labelled. I don't know. Point at hand, The Witcher 3 got a patch on July 19th. So, like, 10 days ago. Patch 4.04 is now available everywhere, pretty much. And they fixed some stuff. They changed some visuals slightly. Yeah.
I liked your question about...
Yeah, so... the actual point here, I've put... Because Caedo puts, like, a standard titles that make sense, he's put things like free animated Starfield trailers, or, you know, which explains what it is. I swear that CDPR are patching The Witcher 3 more often than they are Cyberpunk 2077. Because I just put what I'm feeling. And, yeah, I've seen several Witcher 3 patches in, like, the past year or two, and I think there may have been more Witcher 3 patches than there have been Cyberpunk 2077.
Well, I did do a loose count, and it looks like there was just 4.
For which game?
The Witcher 3.
This year, or?
Over the last year, I believe.
Okay. How many has Cyberpunk had, do you know?
I gotta check that again, because I will never have a proper number for that. 1.63 is the most recent one, which came out June 20th. 1.62 was April 14th. Hotfix, February 1st.
Are we counting hotfixes?
We don't have to apply.
I'm putting that as a half for now.
Okay.
Just in case.
1.61 was November 8th, 2022. 1.6, the Edgerunners update, the big one, was September 6th, 2022. Is that 4?
That's 4. When was the next one?
1.52 was March 22nd, 2022.
Okay, so that's the same number of patches.
So
Witcher 3 is getting patched as much as Cyberpunk.
Okay.
Cyberpunk came out was it end of 2019? End of 2020. End of 2020. Witcher 3 came out in 2015.
Yep, but because of the jacked up high resolution patch that, you know, added mods that they didn't fully credit some of.
That whole controversy.
And some of it was hilarious. Like makes me really appreciate, say what you will about Creation Club, they did actually curate them.
Yep.
Which
people were credited as well, I believe.
Yeah, and paid. And we know that they weren't fully curated in CD Projekt Red's case because we wouldn't have this issue if they were. It was a you know, some mods on Nexus do this. If you've modded at all, like you're familiar with this. Like some are like collaborative mods where like mod packs where they combine a whole bunch of other mods. That was a similar situation to what CD Projekt Red did with some of the monster mods, I guess. The monster like skin replacers and stuff like that. Unfortunately, the recognizable part was the genitals of one of the monsters. Because somebody in the modding community was just like, oh, interesting, that's my work. Which was so interesting. So they patched that out. That was probably one of the patches over the last year. Was patching that little mistake out. But yeah, may have been a learning experience for CD Projekt Red. I hope. I have a hard time telling sometimes.
You never know. I just find it kind of weird that The Witcher 3 gets so many more, or so much more attention these days than Cyberpunk seems to be getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know people like their decade-ish old fantasy RPGs and are obsessed with them and won't shut up, but yeah, I feel almost a little bit bad for Cyberpunk, you know?
I don't feel bad for CD Projekt Red. I do feel bad about the Cyberpunk IP.
Yeah. But hey, we're getting Starfield, which will have Cyberpunk-based stuff in it.
Yeah!
And who knows, could be a more fun Cyberpunk-style game than Cyberpunk 2077 was. We'll have to wait and see.
You're being so optimistic right now, Sarge.
I mean, I said we'll have to wait and see, and could be. I'm clarifying so much.
Just in case you're quoted
Caedo,
word for word. I said May.
I always am careful in like tempering expectations and saying stuff, and then people just hear it and translate it in their brain to like the extreme version.
Yep. Sarge thinks Starfield's gonna be the best game of 2023. Say. That's what Sarge thinks.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yep. The best part about taking a neutral middle stance is that both sides will hate you because they'll hear the opposite. It's great. You know what is reliable? Doesn't lie to me though.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers. I like numbers.
Analytics.
Well, the analytics I don't like so much. They're often red, which is bad. But numbers in general, they're good. I know them. 1 + 1 = 2. You can't like convince it to equal something else. You can't like give it a bribe. You can't just whisper in its ear. You can't threaten to dox it or whatever people do on the internet these days. It's great. Numbers just are, and I like that. And this relates to the news in some way, which I'm supposed to mention as well. So Total War Warhammer 3, game I'm a big fan of. A whole bunch of like the behind-the-scenes numbers for how certain things work has been just like kind of publicly revealed. So they talk about, in this little article I've got, they talk about elevation, so being on a hill and what exactly changes from you being on higher ground than your opponent. And I'm going to quote directly here. For range damage, the maximum bonus to damage is 30%, which requires a height difference of 40 meters. There's also a damage penalty for shooting upwards, with the same 40-meter difference resulting in equivalent maximum damage penalty of 30%. Which is kind of cool. And it talks about how like flying units actually get like a kind of bonus with damage from being higher up naturally and stuff like that, and it calculates into melee as well, and there's a lot of stuff which the community at large knew generally, which is just being told to us like in specific numbers so we can work it out. And if you ever see like a unit card of a Total War Warhammer character or unit, it's just a bunch of numbers. It tells you your leadership, your melee attack, your melee defense, your weapon strength, and the game is largely numbers when you get right down to it, when you ignore all the pretty visuals and theming and stuff. So having these numbers just a bit more out there and easier to tell, I think is good for the community. And it's a nice bit of transparency within the game, rather than just needlessly hiding this stuff.
Yeah, Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bethesda, show me my character stat breakdown.
Yeah.
Do it. Sorry, I tried to tie it back into things I know.
That's alright. I will say as well, on that note, I do like the fact that this is stuff which you can find kind of outside of the game and isn't just cluttering up the first thing you look at. Because while Fallout 4 doesn't show you half as much information as would be nice, I do appreciate that when you first go and look at it, it's fairly simple and straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you look at your weapon, you don't have to go through 100 different numbers to find the damage. You just get, like, your basic stuff.
Yeah.
What I prefer is, like, then a button you can press for more in-depth things, which tells you, like, reload time, that's efficiency, all of that kind of stuff.
A recent game I've been playing has that button, and I like it very much.
Is it gonna be your I've lost my legs and I'm crawling through the desert game?
No.
Okay. You're allowed to talk about
Even
it,
though, yes, it does have a full breakdown of
no,
all of the numbers.
Mention the other one. Mention the other one instead.
Remnant 2 has a button
okay.
you can just press in the character menu where it just shows a full breakdown of what things are receiving bonuses and how much.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep. The Witcher
Solid.
3 did that as well. But I have no willpower to go back to it because things are wrong with it. Apparently.
Well, you know a game that has literally nothing wrong with it. You hear that, internet?
Yep.
Perfect game, 10 out of 10,
Yep.
no notes.
Mm-hmm.
Poe 2.
Poe 2?
Yeah. So, Path of Exile and Pillars of Eternity both get shortened to Poe by their communities a fair bit.
Ah, frick.
Yeah.
I didn't make that connection.
I made it because I talked about both of them in a video at one point. I think we both actually talked about them because I had you on the video.
Yeah, I talked about Path of Exile.
Yeah, and I talked about Pillars of Eternity, I guess. Yeah, and as I was doing research and stuff, I had to be really careful with note-taking, because...
Oh, dang.
Yeah. But yeah, Path of Exile 2 has official gameplay out. Does the game exist yet? Caedo, you talk about this. Oh, it's coming June 7th next year. Cool, so it doesn't exist yet. It's fine.
I don't think... That's the thing, I'm not sure. June 7th, 2024. So yeah, next year. Which is surprisingly close considering... I mean, I haven't been keeping a close eye on this. It's just in my interest because I am a Blizzard hater. I will not play Diablo. But I also like action RPGs in that kind of genre. And Path of Exile, when I geeked out about it on Sarge's video too, it kind of scratched that itch and then some because of its ridiculous like passive skill and modifiable active skill system alongside the classes you could play. And I think the classes are doubling in Path of Exile 2, up to 6 players per like dungeon run and stuff like that. Like it's getting ridiculous, more ridiculous than it already was. So there's a half hour of gameplay that was shown at ExileCon that seemingly just happened. So if you are interested in something that is Diablo-like but tired of Blizzard, give this a look, and you may find something interesting. Oh yeah, by the way, Path of Exile's always been free to play, with no content locked behind money. So you can just play it. I could have brought out the Diablo 4 like gross malicious placement of like premium payment buttons and one press buying. Like that's
Even
the recent
I saw, like,
the recent thing that people are really
that.
pissed off about, because somebody on I think where that story kicked off was a streamer just hit it by accident.
Yep.
And he was like, no, like you could see like his gut-wrenching feeling because like he, you know, I don't like paying for stuff by accident, especially if it's a one press and no confirmation.
Oh yeah.
I hate that. So yeah, Path of Exile, as grinding your games, as far as I know, they've never really been like secretive or covert about like what microtransactions are. They even call them actual microtransactions. It's a microtransaction shop. And like, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, play Path of Exile if you want something that's an experience that you can just, you know, have for free if you want to, and look forward to the sequel that comes out next year. That may be enough time that I'll be tired of Starfield so I can start playing that.
I'd like to point out that Avowed is due to come out next year as well.
Ah, crap.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Forget it. I'm not playing Path of Exile 2. I just wanted to tell you about it.
I feel like there's actually quite a few games coming out like towards the end of this year or start of next year, which I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. I'm like, I'll just be playing Starfield. It doesn't matter.
Oh well. It'll be there.
Yeah. It's good to come back to games a while after they've been out. Gives them time to get patched and stuff.
Yeah, well, Kite did make a very valid point because Kite's the one that wants to be kind of there at the beginning, so it doesn't have the free-to-play nature of like missing a whole bunch of stuff and then not having a clear tutorial on all of the aspects that were introduced, because Warframe has that problem really bad. So I guess I can see kind of both sides, waiting until like the game functions great kind of thing when it launches kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, wanting to be there first also feels good, especially with a free game. But, since something is free, there's always the threat of, bots crapping up the servers and that kind of stuff too. So I'm sure they'll do a stress test prior. Anyway, that's it for Path of Exile 2. Check out the trailer if you're interested, for the gameplay thing. We have a topic, Sarge.
We do.
We have a big old topic that's the most self-centered topic we've ever had.
Yeah! I mean, I can't believe you'd say that. Should we do my question first?
Oh, sure.
So, we're in the Q&A section now, and I'd like to point out that Caedo made a community post which actually got attention. Very good to see.
Mm-hmm. It's because I used a meme.
Yeah. You put like a little image of a meme there. I put a video, and YouTube for some reason hates when you put videos on posts. Can you imagine sharing a video on YouTube? Disgusting.
You're not sharing it the right way.
Yeah. Caedo hearted exactly one comment on here, so sorry everyone else. It was my comment, my question I left, which is, why is Sarge so awesome? I mean, let's face it, that guy is super duper cool. I think there should be at least 5 hours dedicated to this question.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Are you asking me for the answer? Do you want a legitimate answer?
I mean, it's been asked for. It's got the second highest number of likes as well.
3 likes, oh my god.
I mean, there's only 2 things on here which have actually been given likes.
One was me, one was probably Tifa, and one could have been you, I don't know.
It isn't me. Oh,
okay.
Wait, but I can hit the like button now, it's joined those likes.
Yeah.
No, I just put this as a fun, jokey one.
Yeah.
Because engagement also helps I'm aware of that, and I was like, I'm going to post that so that maybe it'll get a bit more traction as well.
I mean,
I have one more comment after that.
I was going to say I have a simple answer for that question. It's like, I gravitate towards hanging out with chill people, and Sarge is a chill person. So,
yeah.
And we like a lot of the same games, so it just kind of works out that way.
I first chatted anyway with Caedo when he joined a Final Fantasy IX stream I was playing.
Whoa, that's right.
That's what cool kids do.
That's what happened.
Classic Final Fantasy games.
I always forget it was Final Fantasy IX. You were in the ropeway section, about to fight Black Waltz 3, 2.
I mean, I don't remember the specific part I was playing.
I do.
I
just had to be reminded what it was.
My knowledge there.
Because I only have a snippet of watching you playing Final Fantasy IX as a memory. So.
My memory is Caedo and I first spoke then. That's it.
Yeah.
Which, is about as good as my memory goes.
So that's the answer to your question, Sarge.
Yeah. Shall we just go down the list and see how things go?
I'm sorting by newest and then starting at the bottom.
Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna let you read out the questions rather than it go between both of us.
Ah, crap. Okay. So I have 2 sources, which is the previous episode 114, right?
Yep.
Yes. And the community post that I made. So we have a few to go through. Since we grabbed a community post one that was Sarge's, I'm gonna grab one from Chad Harger 9323.
Yep.
If you're not getting paid, then go to the courts instead of social media. Morons is that's a different thing. That was related to the topic that we were talking about.
Okay, I'm guessing this is from the video as well, because I'm reading his community post one. Yes. And I'm like, that's completely different.
They have a community post too?
People doubled up and left comments on both.
That's cheating! Oh, I'll grab your community post one then. Because that one's easier to read. Do you and Sarge think Bethesda is still serious about that big Fallout 4 update, or will they pretend it was never a thing?
I was really, really, really hoping that at like the last big Xbox event thingy, the one we covered, the Xbox Game Showcase and Starfield Direct, that we were going to get an update on the Fallout 4 next generation thing, which was mentioned. I think it was only in like a Bethesda equivalent of community post or something, because I was really hoping we'd get it as like a precursor to Starfield coming out, as like a thing to just kind of tide people over until then. But that's not happened.
Nope.
And isn't going to happen now that we've got like 1 month left.
Yeah.
There's been nothing said about it at all since.
My prediction is it's either going to be a really long wait because Starfield is going to take up Bethesda's airtime, or it won't happen.
Yeah.
One of those things. Because I think it's a smart choice. Like, we've seen other publishers do this before, where like if it's a flagship game, especially a new IP flagship game that Bethesda's trying to keep our interest in, the worst thing they could do is draw attention away from it. I feel like they're not going to talk about Fallout 4 for a while.
Yeah.
Until Starfield's really got its footing or fails miserably. I'm hoping for the former.
Oh, so much hoping for the former. I have reasonably high expectations for this, and something I've had quite a bit is people being like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Starfield's gonna be trash because you also said you were gonna play Redfall and that was bad." And then the basic logic is, I've played games like Fallout 76 and Redfall and been looking forward to them, so therefore Starfield will have as bad a launch, is the general line of thinking. But with both of those other games, I had much lower expectations, and my expectations aren't built off of like, oh, I'd like this to be a thing. It's what do I see in the things we've been shown, what seems realistic out of that.
Yeah.
I think I have very realistic expectations every time, but like I said before about the internet, if I say, oh, I'm looking forward to this thing, or oh, I'm going to be covering this thing, that's what I want to do, then people are like, you thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever, what an idiot you are.
Yeah, Sarge, why do you like things?
Yeah, but Starfield seems like it's got plenty of stuff that looks good, looks feasible for what Bethesda can do and have done in the past. Like, obviously there's potential technical issues, which is one of the things we never really know about until we get our hands on the game.
Well, except for the frame rate thing on console.
Yeah.
We do know about that. Which that one is like a hit and miss. We don't quite know, like, because it is a Bethesda game, how well it's going to perform at a consistent 30 as opposed to jumping it up to 60. But that's a concern of mine, is like, is the shooting gonna feel right for people, or is it going to not matter as much because it's very much RPG focused first, and the rest will kind of fall in place. I don't know.
I mean, there's been plenty of games which have been at 30 FPS and have been fine or have been bad. And I made a video not that long ago called Why Do People Hate Starfield? And I mentioned the 30 FPS thing, and the line I say in it or something is like, basically, we know that it's 30 FPS. If the game goes fine, then everyone was complaining about it will just forget about it. It'll be fine, it'll be a non-issue. But if it does turn out badly, everyone will be like, this is a red flag, how did you not notice this? Are you idiots? Whatever. Because it's one of those things which could go either way. And anyone taking like super strong claims of it will be like this because of 30 FPS, I'm just going to disagree inherently on having a strong, like, certain take on it. Because it's one of those things which is kind of just a question mark right now. We don't really know how it's going to impact things. Hopefully it'll be for the better.
Yep, hope so. Definitely. I hope that answered your question, Chad Harger. And thank you. Also, YouTube decided to normalize this weird, like, YouTube handle instead of your actual name kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a bug or if that's just intentional now and how it's going to be. So I apologize for reading out your handles instead of your names. That's just how it shows up now.
Yeah, I can't see names.
And it sucks. Sarge, would you like to, I guess, pick one since we're kind of out of order already?
Oh, maybe?
Okay.
Because we're out of order, I don't know where to go from. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with Chad's one on the other thing. I'm just going to read out the little question, which is...
we're double dipping.
Yep. How is the quest for an early access key for Starfield going?
Good question.
I can say... I'm going to double-check Twitter in case I got... I've already checked Keymailer today, and there's nothing on there.
You probably check them more than I do.
I mean, not that often. No, I sent a follow-up message because the I messaged one of the Bethesda community managers who's put up a post being like, hey, message if you're a UK content creator and want a key, or we're going to be covering Starfield and stuff. So I did that, but I've not had a reply. And I only sent the follow-up a week ago, but I also know Twitter's done weird stuff with messages before, so...
Oh, yeah. Especially because there's a lot of things shifting on Twitter for the worst.
Yep, or X, as I think we're supposed to technically call it now.
It's so stupid.
Although I still have the Twitter bird icon. Like, I've seen so many other people with the X icon. Everything's still the same for me. It's not, like, updated, so...
And also, my answer to the question is, it's still pending. I have requested it probably more than a month ago now, and it's still pending.
Yeah, I requested mine, like, right away.
Yeah, and so I'm guessing also if either of us got a key, it would probably be Sarge first.
I mean,
because I was a bit late to the party.
You've got a lot more subscribers and stuff, though.
True, but my traffic is also worse than yours.
It can't be.
On recent uploads.
I'm not sure about that. I've had one good video and a lot of bad ones.
The only thing they probably get out of it is like, oh, Caedo's views suck right now. Yes. Yeah. Yes, they do. The evergreen...
Both of our views kind of suck right now, unfortunately.
The evergreen guides are the only thing sustaining me right now.
Yeah.
But back to kind of the question? Was there a question?
Yeah. Yeah, it was how was the request for an early access key. Neither of us have got it.
Yeah, neither of us.
I will say, how close until launch day is it going to be before we buy the game? Because I'm already wondering this. Like, how long do we wait to see if we get a key before just being like, I guess I'm buying it?
It'd probably be the day before for me. Like,
that seems fair.
Like, it's a guaranteed buy for me regardless. Yeah. And, yeah, it would be... If I didn't get a key, it would be immediately the day before, because my internet is fortunately fast enough to where I can have a full turnaround of a preloaded game 24 hours before.
Yeah. I feel like I might do it a couple of days before just to make sure with the whole downloading and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if there's like a download and then a day before update or anything like that. But yeah, we've essentially got 1 month in which to get a key, and if that doesn't happen, then we're going to have to spend, I think, 20 quid for me, because I've got Game Pass Ultimate, and there's like an upgrade thing.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, we'll find out close to the time. Alright, Caedo, what's our next question?
Oh boy, let's see. Mackenzie Regis 1351. My question for you guys would be, do you guys... God, let me try that again. I am sorry, I made you sound like you don't know how to write. My question for you guys would be, do you guys like the aesthetic change from 3 to 4 when it comes to items and vehicles? An example would be the bottle design of Nuka-Cola from 3 to 4. And my favorite unique is Lyndon's Outcast Power Armor. Oh, that was for the topic. The aesthetic difference. I'm pretty sure the art direction change was based on the lead artist from Fallout 3 passing away, too. Like, that was a pretty big defining factor between 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to aesthetic, just pure aesthetic appearances, I kind of like a lot of the designs of Fallout 4 a little bit better than Fallout 3's. Particularly, I like how the Mirelurks look, more so than just bipedal with crab heads. And instead they have like multiple legs and they look much more crab-like.
I think Death Claws, a lot of the enemy design improved with Fallout 4.
Yeah, the Death Claws in Fallout 4 look cool.
I will say I do like the kind of longer claws that Death Claws have in like Fallout 3 and I think all of the previous games.
Yeah, that part is true. Yeah, I will agree with that.
Overall, I do think Fallout 4 Deathclaws look a little better, but the claws are not as much.
I do wonder if there was a lot of experimentation on that part.
I imagine there's huge clipping issues.
Yeah.
with those claws.
Because like all of their animations are definitely like, how would longer claws work with like how they're walking, kind of like a T-Rex kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't really remember the difference in the vehicle designs per se. I think they were pretty similar, weren't they?
I think they're mostly similar.
And
I can only picture like standard cars, which do
Yeah.
look very similar. I think Fallout 3 in general has things that are a lot more rusted and destroyed than Fallout 4. But
Yeah.
and also there's a huge graphical leap with 4, which is going to change things naturally.
Yep.
I will say one thing I don't like in Fallout 4 is the standard assault rifle design.
Yes.
It's kind of just it's a cylinder. It looks
Yeah.
like almost like an exhaust.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's an exhaust pipe that shoots bullets.
yep, not a big fan of that. We
Yeah.
do end up with the handmade rifle, which looks cool and is like an assault rifle that looks more like an assault rifle you'd imagine. Whereas Fallout 3 had some better weapon designs there. I feel like overall, though, the changes were better. I didn't even think of the bottle design for Nuka-Cola.
Yeah, I think about occasionally. I like the rocket-shaped bottles because like that's iconic. You immediately know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the generic bottles, I mean, you could look at like New Vegas where it incorporated multiple different types of sodas.
Yeah.
And at a glance, unless it was quantum or something that was glowing, like you couldn't really tell the difference until you were up close. They had like mild color differences, but the shape was similar or the same. So
Yeah. Like, I'm looking at a side-by-side now, and the Fallout 4's one is so much better. Like, it is distinctive. Nuka-Cola just seems like an off-brand of Coca-Cola on the Fallout 3 style one. Whereas Nuka-Cola looks like it is its own thing.
yeah. Mackenzie, you didn't say which one was your favorite though.
How dare you not let us judge you for your correct/incorrect opinion?
So if you disagree, you'll probably have more to say than, like, yeah, because, yeah, generally, I mean, it's not a stretch to really say that Fallout 4 is generally nicer to look at when it comes to, like, just aesthetic, not feel, but more aesthetic side of things, because it's generally a newer game.
Raider clothing. I will say that Fallout 3 has some badass looking Raider outfits.
True. Yes.
Some of which we got back in 76. But Fallout 4, with its more compartmentalized armor? That's not quite right. Component-based armor.
Modular.
Where you have to... Modular. That's an even better one.
Yeah.
There we go.
I like that word a lot. It describes so many things.
Modular armor, I feel, often leads to raiders. It's not that it looks bad. It's just that, like, the complete outfit of, like, the mercenary style clothing with the bandoliers of bullets and stuff, that was just really cool looking in Fallout 3. It's not that Fallout 4 did it bad, it's just Fallout 3 did it really good.
Yeah. So what Sarge said, to translate, Sarge said Fallout 4 sucks.
Yep, that's it. Thank you for translating.
That's going to be the theme. It's going to be me translating to the extreme of what you said.
Yep. Oh dear.
Yeah. Your pick, Sarge. I grabbed one from the video.
Okay, I'm on the video now as well. We might even be reading it in the same order, because I'm now going to go for the one directly above. Agent Samson 5623.
Yes.
Hey! They say Fallout 4 Survival Mode is hands down one of my most favourite hardcore modes from any game, but I forced myself to do it permadeath and restart for the extra added tension. Why? Why? Are there any things from Fallout 4 Survival Mode either of you would like to see changed/added to the next single player Fallout? They also say thanks for a great podcast. Thanks for saying that.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that part. I'm going to heart that one right now. I'm going to heart the ones that we answer.
Oh.
Yeah. Y'all going to feel special with the Caedo heart.
Yeah. I will say I'm a big fan of Fallout 4 Survival Mode as well. One thing I'd like to see change, which is almost the opposite of what you've done with making death even more punishing, is I'd want to make, like, saving a bit easier.
Ah, dang it.
I do appreciate not just being able to, like, save scum, and I think that's something that should still be in there. Because otherwise it is just like the classics, where you're like, oh, I'm going on a journey, let's save. Oh, I died. Oh, I died. Oh, I died. Oh, I died. Oh, I got through that time.
I wonder if saving I mean, it would be very gamey if that was the case, because like I'm in full agreement with you, and also you took my answer, so I don't know what to answer with. But if there were a way, not necessarily to just make saves available, which is an alternative, and a lot of people modded that in, but being able to like sacrifice some of your important items to save.
Yeah.
So you do have to pay still in some way.
Yeah.
But that prevents you from the save scumming aspect too, unless you have, like, for example, if you have 50 stim packs, for example, and you need to use like a fifth of them to save. And obviously the number would increase the more you have.
I would actually go against that, because those are the sort of systems which just get exploited so much. I'll talk about it in a little bit, because I've been playing Grand Theft Auto.
Nice.
And the way to make death inconsequential there is just you put all of your money onto just a random stock, go on a rampage, and the hospital can't bill you because you've got no money.
Oh.
And the same sort of exploit would happen instantly.
You just store all your stim packs.
Yeah, you just store your stim packs, then die, then go back and pick them up.
Okay, well,
but I do like that general idea. What I was thinking was like 76 has the like little deployable tent sort of thing. I'd like something similar to that with like a save station, but it needs like junk to build it each time. So you have to do a bit of scavenging and stuff in order to build. Yeah,
that might be on the right track. Like maybe some sort of like single build kind of thing that you could do at settlements too. And then that's where you could save.
Yeah, depending on how spread out the settlements are and stuff, just being able to save at them is helpful. But I think Fallout 4, the settlements were too spread out in certain areas and too just compacted in others. Like, there's places in that game where, with the bed saving system, you can save, like, so easily in a few areas, like central Boston or top the northwest of a map. No difficulty saving at all. But you end up in the glowing sea or something, and it's like, well, you got to save an hour ago.
Yep.
Oh dear, a rad scorpion just popped up out of nowhere.
Uh-oh.
Enjoy walking this entire way again.
Yep.
But being able to make like a small deployable camp would be kind of nice. Maybe, I'm thinking maybe like a risk-reward thing, where maybe you deploy it and it like attracts a bit of attention, so you need to find somewhere safe to do it as well, because it will like draw in nearby creatures. So that way you can't just do it like inside a building filled with raiders or something. So there's a bit of that. I think there's ways to do it, certainly, which bridge the gap between not just letting you save scum, but also not making it insanely difficult, which is, I think, Fallout 4 Survival Mode's biggest complaint was that.
Yeah, it's the risk reward was kind of there with the adrenaline system.
Yeah.
Which really made it more exciting in that way, because like you start going on a killing spree, like you get stronger, but you can't save or you lose it.
Yeah.
Or you can't sleep or you lose it. And sometimes your character gets real tired. Or I'm sure there's other interesting ways to go about that. I wonder, I don't know, maybe some other survival games have a interesting way of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, on top of the saving thing, one thing I really like from survival mode that I'd like to see added is the kind of damage system. Instead of it being just enemies deal more damage, you deal less, is like everyone deals a ton of damage. That's a really fun way to play, because it encourages stealth, it encourages long range, it makes you a bit more cautious with fights and stuff. I quite liked that.
Yeah.
But one thing I'd like, which was in previous Fallout games, and also was put in 76, is like weapon durability. I'd quite like that tied just to a survival mode, as opposed to a generic thing. Because I feel like durability is one of those things that splits the community, and the more hardcore sort of people like it, the people who are just like, I just want to have some fun, don't like it.
Yeah.
Putting it in a hardcore or survival mode, I think, is perfect for that. Because it would appeal to the people who a survival mode is more likely to appeal to, but wouldn't bring down the experience for other people who are just wanting to go on a bit of a power fantasy.
Yeah. I would want the New Vegas style of durability, though. where it's like
Are you talking about repairing with other weapons, or
no, the final like 10%.
Oh yeah,
it's either
I'm
like
down for
15%.
yeah,
is
because when you use a weapon
full,
and like it instantly gets a bit weaker, it's
is
like,
full
annoying.
durability. Yeah.
Yep.
So like a chunk of it is full durability, not just the end of the bar. Like
Yeah,
New
I
Vegas
feel
did it a really good way.
yeah, I'd be happy to see different weapons have like different durability levels as well, where they start breaking earlier or later depending on the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could add some nice variety. And one thing I liked in those games as well was like struggling to reload or something because you've got low durability. Things like that were like a nice fun little moment that was added in.
Yeah. And we could talk about Fallout 4 survival mode a lot because we both enjoy it a lot.
Yep.
But like that's a good question, Agent Samson. Thank you. And we hope that more survival stuff just becomes available. Mainly,
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing, is like an optional modifiers for difficulty, or just a survival checkbox we can do, like even Starfield kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down for that. Yeah, thank you again. So how about one from Travis Fletcher 6342? I want to say the numbers every time.
I mean, what I've noticed is that Discord has now made it so that you basically just have a name and they've got rid of the numbers.
Yeah.
And YouTube has added in the numbers to the names.
It's really
They've just
funny.
both decided to do the opposite.
Yeah, that's just silly. Yeah, what food and or drink from the Fallout universe would you most like to try in real life? Asked Travis Fletcher 6342. From the Fallout universe, that's anything. That's prepared food too, not just stuff in a can. Deathclaw omelet.
Ooh.
I'd go big.
See, I can't think of anything that I really, really would like to try from the
I wouldn't eat the
universe.
whole thing, obviously, because that's a big freaking egg, but I would try it.
See, here's the thing. I eat a lot of food. I eat very cheap food as well. And I do not have much of a discerning palate. So I feel like there's nothing in the Fallout universe where I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to try that. But I'd also be like, yeah, I'll eat it. Why not?
Yeah,
I've ate
it's
weird
food.
stuff before. Yeah. I mean, like, I'd probably go for a meat item. But, I don't know, like, iguana on a stick. I like food that's on a stick.
Yeah, but you know the backstory of iguana on a stick.
It's normal iguana, Caedo. That's why we're constantly running into iguanas.
Yeah, there's plenty of iguanas in the wasteland that we definitely
Yep.
see alive.
Iguanas everywhere.
Yep.
That's why I'm going to eat just the iguanas that are everywhere.
Iguana bits are definitely made of iguana, mostly.
Yep. Well, the thing is, as well, I was also thinking about different things that I wouldn't want to eat, because, like, don't want to eat roasted dog meat. That's no. Squirrel on a stick. I quite like squirrels.
Yeah.
Feel a bit bad for them that way. Like, there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh, that animal's kind of cute. I guess I won't eat them. But
But in a desperate situation.
oh, in a desperate situation, yeah, no
Okay.
worries about it. But when this is the thing, it isn't the question being posed isn't like, oh, you're in a desperate situation. What are you willing to eat? Because that's easy for me. I'm like, yeah, I'll eat all of the stuff there. It's like, what would you like to try? And there's nothing I'm really that interested in. You know what? Let's go with cram.
Cram?
Yeah, cram seems like it's probably similar to spam.
It's
and I'd
just
like to,
yeah, it's just spam.
yeah, I'd like to do a taste test, see what the difference is,
Yeah.
side by side. 'Cause I
Maybe
like
it's
spam.
less salty.
Maybe it's more salty.
Maybe it's more salty. It's been sitting for a while.
Yeah, I do like salt, so
Yeah.
I'll try cram.
Travis did answer his own question too. I have the Fallout cookbook, and my family made the Captain's Feast, which was delicious. That's the one based in Far Harbor, right?
Probably.
I'm guessing it's the Captain's Feast.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many Nuka-Cola options too, because he said food or drink.
Oh, wait, drink. Yeah, I'd love to try Nuka-Cola.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I want to try Nuka-Cola Quantum. I've probably got higher radiation
try
levels already.
all of the Nuka recipes in Nuka World.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bar tour almost, except you just need to have the recipes.
it would be quite nice to try Vim as well, because I wonder if it's like a Coke and Pepsi thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where apparently now more people do prefer Pepsi, at least in the UK, but Coke is like the big brand that everyone knows and is like the default one. I do wonder if it's the same with Vim, where more people actually prefer Vim, but they wouldn't order Vim, they'd order Coke or Nuka-Cola.
Yeah. I should mention, too, that I don't drink soda at all in real life anymore.
Yeah.
So that would be like my one cheat I could do.
Yep. I think you'd be allowed it like one time. That's hopefully wouldn't do... I was about to say wouldn't do too much harm. This is a Fallout Cola.
Yeah. I'm in the post-apocalypse. Least of my worries is my freaking teeth rotting out, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so thank you, Travis.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Next question. Let's go Shaggy Dog Inc. I'm guessing that's for Incorporated. My question for you both of you is, if you could join any faction or group in Fallout, who would you join and how would you personally want to do in that group to help them? So yeah, what group you're going to join, what you're going to do in that group.
Well, are we taking a realistic approach to the answer? Because I'm a weak little baby when it comes to surviving anything.
Yeah, if we take it, let's do a realistic and then a more fantasy style approach.
The most I have in my arsenal is my charm, which is hit and miss depending on the day. Also, God, my leadership training. Man, I don't like taking responsibility for other people either, especially when it's the apocalypse, the post-apocalypse. So my first reaction was Riley's Rangers, but I would need to be a desk jockey of some kind. My main skill is editing right now, and I don't know how useful that would be in a Fallout setting. Not at all, probably. I could be a radio host of some kind, but they don't have a faction, really.
No.
Red Eye was in the Nuka World radio, but I probably wouldn't interact with raiders much because they're generally a bad faction. Followers of the Apocalypse, I guess, like, they seem like the most peaceful of the factions to like exist with. That like they have the protections of Freeside as well, where like the kings get along with them generally, and you know most people are cool with like what they do and what they stand for. So I don't know, I could hand out flyers for funding the Followers of the Apocalypse. I don't know.
That'd be something.
Yeah. Or be their radio host, make a new radio station for them.
Yeah. I actually do have useful skills for the apocalypse.
Oh, look at you.
I've got great endurance. I can walk for miles and miles and miles. I actually checked and I did a 30-mile walk, roughly. Probably a bit longer because I probably did not take this optimal route a while back. And I just kept going and was able to do that. So I can do long distance deliveries for groups. I'm weirdly quiet. Like, I basically, what I call it is turning on my footsteps, because as default, I'll walk silently everywhere, so I often have people bumping into me, so I've clearly got high stealth stats, so I can't work out the faction to go for. But,
I think we have a similar way of walking, because I have to almost stomp for people to notice me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Although, minor gripe, yesterday I was walking down the seafront, and there were people facing me, walking towards me, who walked, like, into me. Changed their path to walk into me, and I had to dodge them. Like, don't know why, but it happens quite often to me. There'll be people who see me and then walk into me.
Were you wearing camouflage?
No!
You were using a stealth boy, huh?
I mean, that's how good my stealth is, I guess. But, yeah, it's not super helpful. But yeah, like... see, I was having the same problem with you where I didn't really have a faction, because I was thinking like, I'll go with the courier service, because I can walk long distances. There's no vehicles or anything, so that doesn't hold me back. I've had some weapons training, so that's going to be helpful. I'm not particularly strong, which is a downside. But yeah, I feel like I'm probably better suited than most people these days to the post-apocalypse, but not by a huge amount. So some courier service would be like the most sensible thing. I was thinking maybe the railroad. Like, they've got to do a lot of walking, a lot of sneaking about. That kind of makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Or I'd go with Loxley and his thieves. I've always liked the idea of being a thief.
the faction I never run into in New Vegas, or in the first game, I mean.
I was about to say, yeah, they're not in New Vegas.
Yeah.
But I suppose my realistic one would probably be Railroad, and I wouldn't be anyone important. I'd just, like, deliver stuff to them from... I'd probably be the person who's putting, like, the dead drops in places.
Oh.
That'd be my thing. I just
be
wander around the wasteland doing that.
Sergeant Dead Dropper.
Yeah. However, for, like, the more fantasy one, I'm kind of half split between the Minutemen and the Gunners. Because I made my own faction in a video called Bad Company, obviously. And yeah, I'd totally go for a mercenary group if I had the choice.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'd like to do. And like, if it was already joining a faction, like Gunners kind of had that, but they have already a hierarchy, where the Minutemen, I feel like I could use them more to put myself at the top.
I think we might be alike in that. I mean, it's because I really enjoy the concept, the bones of Riley's Rangers, but there's not much beyond her quest.
Yeah.
So, except scouting locations, which is incredibly dangerous for a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I would want to help a lawful neutral mercenary faction of some kind.
Yeah, lawful neutral.
Yeah,
that's
Sarge.
Totally totally what I was going for. Okay, I know I'm a chaotic neutral person. I know that, and that's me on a good day. Like, I feel like in the apocalypse, it might be chaotic evil. We'll see how my mind snaps.
I don't know. I mean, alignment
I
has
know
become
how my
just
mind snaps.
alignment has just become guidelines in D&D anyway, but
Yeah.
I assume lawful neutral is just like, you have a general moral compass. It doesn't necessarily have to be law abiding, but like, you know when something is wrong or something wrong is happening.
I've got a moral compass, but my moral compass is very different to other people's.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it would fit in well with the Wasteland, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there could be some D&D heads that are more in tune with it, but I think like Talon Company's in the lawful evil territory, because they do have a structure and a system of some kind, but they definitely do evil things for money. Whereas Riley's Rangers is much more lawful neutral, where they do, things generally. They may even be, no, they can't be lawful good, because they're still doing it for money. They're still doing it to make a buck. So they would have to be like lawful neutral. Anyway,
maybe.
I'm thinking about it too hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's enough for that kind of one. I've also realised I'm quite disappointed. My intelligence is by far my greatest strength, and I didn't bring it up at all in like a function. I was like, I'm sneaking, I can walk lots. Not that I'm smart, and most people in the Wasteland are idiots.
Sarge,
like, no.
you're so super smart. Wow, look at this smart man. Smarty guy.
I mean, people in the Wasteland are such idiots as well. And like, I'm already smarter than most people in normal world. In Wasteland world, I'd be a genius. And I'm like, I'll just walk a lot. That seems right.
I don't think they would like treat you as a god, though. I think they would just take offense and
they wouldn't treat me as a god, but
stab you
like,
or something.
It would have been nice to be like, oh, I'll do something with my brain rather than just walking. But anyway, I think we should move on to the next one. And if you're looking at the same one I am, it's going to be one for you to answer.
It's the Welter 117 one?
Yep. That's the one.
Is there any... I replied to this one too. Is there any chance you could put all of these episodes on Spotify or something for audio listeners? I did reply saying I'm looking at it again and see that it's a bit easier now with Anchor integration for Spotify specifically, Spotify for podcasters. You can just kind of like upload your podcast and like have a thumbnail image and stuff like that. Like, they've made it quite simple. However, the PIPCAST has never been really popular. The thing is, like, I wonder how much time I should invest into something like this. And because I invest a chunk of the weekend into this already, it's that weird middle ground where I'm just like, should I spend the extra time uploading to a platform that I barely use myself and that kind of thing? So I'm always kind of battling that idea.
Yeah.
But because it is made more easy, I am still considering it. If I did, hypothetically, if I did upload to Spotify, it would not be prior episodes. It would be starting at episode 100 and whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't even keep the archives of the podcast itself. So I would have to download it off of YouTube, each of them off of YouTube, rip the audio, and then re-upload it. So that's way too much work.
That is a lot of work.
So I would not do those extra steps, but I would make, the episodes going forward, hypothetically, if I chose to do this, available on Spotify, hypothetically.
Yeah. I think there's plenty of pros and cons to it. Like, on the con side, we'd then have a split audience where some people would be on YouTube, some people would be on Spotify. The people wouldn't really be listening to it twice on different things.
No.
So then we'd lose some YouTube viewers to go over to Spotify. But we would gain a bunch of Spotify listeners.
True.
And I'm also aware that, like, the audio only, view counts or listen counts or whatever they're called, the kind of average bar is much, much lower. Like, people who get tens of thousands of listeners are basically the equivalent to people who get millions of views on YouTube.
Oh.
So, it's one of those things where the numbers can be a lot lower on Spotify, and relatively you're doing a lot better. I think, like Caedo says, it really just does come down to how much extra work is it going to be.
Yep.
Because this isn't like a money-making endeavor. I don't think either of us make anything out of it.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
No. I turned off monetization probably over a year ago now.
Yeah. We do this so we can chat and have all of you interact as well. This is just like a fun bonus thing.
Yeah. And that makes the Q&A a lot of fun too, is because there's, actual interaction. I like it.
Yeah.
There's 2 comments from Timothy Duffy. I don't know if these are questions. Yes. There is a question.
Oh, I can't see it. Where is it?
Cast like this for armor as well. That comment has
yes.
a question.
Timothy says, I'd also love to see your thoughts about some of the lore/mysteries as well. Personally, I'd love to see it with a guest like Epic Nate, but I like hearing your takes on the story elements as well.
Dang it.
So, come on, Nate. Let's
I forgot to ask Epic Nate on Twitter or however you get a hold of him.
Have you interacted with Epic Nate before?
Nope, never.
The name rings a bell for me, but I've got no idea who that is.
I don't have my finger on the pulse of like Bethesda YouTubers nearly as much as I used to.
I have no idea. The Epic Nate 315? Yeah, they've got over 1 million subscribers. That's got to be who they're on about.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck to me asking him.
Yeah.
Good luck to us. Let's both ask him.
I have no idea who, like, people are. I don't know who's in the things. I half got invited and then not mentioned in, like, a Starfield voice chat thingy.
Oh. That's always fun.
And like these are people I don't know who I was like, man, I mean I was in the conversation while talking about voice chatting. I was saying I could do it. Should I go along to that? Should I not? I should, because I feel like both of us are very bad at like interacting with other YouTubers.
I wouldn't say bad. I'm much more introverted, and I also know that if I don't make a first move, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I always wonder, like, is it even worth the effort some of the time? I don't know. People are seeing behind the curtain like super hard, like even to my freaking like inner concerns.
Yeah. Like
but with people like Camelworks, we've had him on a few times. Like he's definitely well above us in subscriber counts and views now. Occasionally I message him on Twitter and see if he has time for, coming and BSing with us for a little bit, and sometimes I get an answer, but I know he's busy. too, with his huge curating curious curiosities and whatever projects. So
Yeah.
But he's a delight to have on every time.
Yeah. I feel like the only YouTubers I would send a message to are people who I'm like, oh yeah, I'm mates with that one, or that person.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, the two of us will chat sometimes.
Yeah, dude, that's a big one too. If you got to get a vibe for someone,
yes,
and see if you'll actually have chemistry before you have them on, and that is a really challenging thing to figure out.
Yeah.
Or at least enough common ground to get started.
Yep.
And then try to figure out like how they work in a group setting too. That's a big one.
Oh, that's a huge thing.
And I will say too, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus right now. However,
so many people under that bus.
I may have collabed with people before where like we didn't quite meet in the middle or have that chemistry and stuff like that, or there was like huge red flags that I was kind of just ignoring for the sake of getting through the project and then never talking to them again. So I mean, Sarge was,
was just a huge red flag, just a giant red flag. And
Sarge, the huge red flag. I I shared some of that with Sarge before, but like, yeah, it's a lot more complex endeavor, like collaborating with someone, especially if you're the one who has to make the first move. It's dating. Have you ever gone on a date with someone who is well above your level in looks and personality and stuff? This is just your internal brain telling you this, and you have to make the first move, and it will be devastating if they say anything besides yes. That's what I experience whenever I try to collab with someone.
I will say I've got two things to say about that. First of all is, generally, I think it's better if the person with like more subscribers reaches out to the person with less subscribers. That typically works out better. Especially if there's like quite a difference. Like, I will say, like with the two of us. If I'd gone into one of your live streams and was like, hey Caedo, look at me, I've got a few thousand subscribers, that wouldn't have gone down as, oh hey, that's Caedo, I recognise him.
I would question your first impression a little bit.
Yeah,
if that's what you opened with.
To be clear, I wouldn't have said that like in a first
No,
thing.
I know.
Like, I don't think you can sort like comments, but oh no, I'd have had a different channel there as well. I was going to say, like, I've probably got comments on old videos of yours buried away somewhere where I'm not being weird like that.
Yeah.
But I do think in general, if you've got more subscribers than the person you're reaching out to, that's generally a better chance of things actually happening.
Yep.
If you've got less subscribers, it doesn't mean you shouldn't reach out. Sometimes it works out. I reached out to the guys at Fudge Muppet, had a little chat with Michael, lovely guy.
Yeah.
Didn't get to like collab with him, but he was like, "Oh, that's cool. I like what you're doing."
I collabed with them.
I just
wish the project was different and better.
Was it the Fallout 4 Junk series?
The collab, not the collab mode series. What's it called?
Locations. I can't remember the name either. I would say I liked that series, but I also get why it didn't like. Shoot
it didn't
up
do well
YouTube.
at all. Yeah. But because I just had my friends show up to talk about Fallout 4.
Yeah, my other point was going to be with the whole dating analogy is, I've not been in a date in like 9 years, which probably gives a good indication to how good I am or how bad I am at reaching out.
Just generally with people.
Like, like I don't make a first move. It's
too scary.
But yeah, you just don't do it. You can never get rejected if you
never try.
Put a foot forward.
No. It's getting way too real in here, Sarge. Okay, so
the question was actually about mysteries, but we did a whole thing about collabs.
Yeah, we
instead.
did. Wow, geez. All right, maybe we should answer the question. Thanks, Timothy Duffy, for the existential discussion.
Why'd you do that to us? Why? No, I'll say I'm not a huge lore person. Like, I'm very much gameplay first. I like the Lovecraftian kind of elements that are hidden away. I just think it's... More so, I think it's very cool that they're like little references, they don't overstay their welcome, and they're the kind of thing where you don't know about it unless you know about it. They don't derail the story in any way. That's the kind of mystery I like. I'm not a big fan of like main story mystery, so to speak. So, in a hypothetical, if Fallout 4, the Simps, it was never explained where they came from, or Super Mutants, it was never explained where they came from, and they're like big elements of the story, that stuff I don't like. But when there's like a little side thing you can go on, and it's like, that's kind of interesting. I've gone out of my way and found something, and it's not fully explained. Just in general, I like that.
Yeah. I even looked at this question earlier, and I was completely drawing a blank. But I mean, I can agree with Sarge on this. I don't invest in lore because I guess I just don't have the brain for it. I have trouble with noting down information that the game provides to me and then trying to interpret that and then try to regurgitate it in an entertaining way. I just, it's not my way of doing things really. Whereas when it comes to like guides, I have an objective, and this is kind of the way you get to that objective.
You've got solid facts there you're going with as well.
And solid facts, numbers, like
suggestions.
Because we were talking about the numbers thing earlier too. Like numbers are nice.
Yeah. Whereas lore as well, it changes, it gets misinterpreted. People will take like what one random NPC villager 5 games ago said as gospel. Like, and then argue about it. Cause
it's the jet thing. It's always the jet thing.
Yeah. But if Myron invented jet, which he must do because he says he does.
But Myron said so. He's a totally reliable source. He must be the one. And Mrs. Bishop had jet before she met John Bishop, and therefore the jet was made beforehand. And then you can just think yourself into a cyclical issue. By the way, that was the same game ruining its own lore.
Yep.
That I love pointing that out to people that are like that are mad about Jet when Fallout 2 like reversed its own lore like in the same game.
Yeah. Like, one thing I would like is for lore in general to be viewed a lot more vaguely. But best mystery I've seen lately is in Chained Echoes, where they talk about other continents which you don't go to, and they just like mention a bit of lore about them, and that kind of stuff is fun. They like mention like a continent that's been overgrown by mushrooms, I want to say. And I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. That's something I'd like to see in the future.
It's just Mario Land.
Yeah, it could be. Who knows?
It could be. They're pixel art characters. Stranger things. Anyway, something lore mystery related that I don't know. A lot of the time it does go back to the synths, but more along the lines of what could have been. Like, if more time was spent on just the general theming. Because, that's something I will beat to death for Fallout 4 is, like, the theming is, it's set up so good. But, like, execution is just super lacking when you get to the Institute and get it just lore dumped on you with vague answers of like, oh, this is what we're about. Yes.
You know what? I'm going to tie it back to an earlier question. What faction I'd join? I'd join the Institute and actually get their goal properly. I'd have them build replacements to humanity who blew up the world and are terrible. I'd be like, let's make a better version. And they'll take over. That's what I do. And that would use my brain. There we go. I won't just be walking everywhere.
Nice.
But yeah, I do agree with you in general terms on that. Like, the Institute could have been so much better.
Yeah,
I would have loved them to be a understandable genocidal lot. Like, hey, we want to get rid of all of humanity because they've screwed up so much, and we have built this thing that's better. Would be great. Like, almost. No, I was going to say there'd be parallels to like the Mechanist, where they think they're doing the right thing despite all the harm it's causing, but I feel like that's a bit more of a stretch, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we've probably talked enough about that one. So, let's move on to the next question.
Yeah. Oh, I need to find it, though.
I think it's going to be the top one from the video now.
Against all odds, you were ranting. There's so much to read.
Yeah, but okay. I didn't see a question in there. I'm
shouting you out, but I don't see a question mark, so I'm going to go up to Ben Sandy. 1764. My question for you guys is, what is one element from every Fallout game you'd like to see implemented in Fallout 5? That's every Fallout game? Because I've played all of them.
Yeah, is that something that's consistent within all Fallout games, or one element from each Fallout game?
That's a lot of questions.
I mean, if it's one thing that's consistent from all Fallout games, I like it to be set in the Fallout universe.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a all-encompassing, wonderful answer that's vague and can be interpreted in mostly positive ways.
From each game, though, I've got a few I can go for, mostly because I've made a video which actually covers some of this stuff. But in Fallout 3, I think did a brilliant job of like random events. I want to see more of that in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the random encounter thing.
Yeah, the random encounters are just very good in that game. They're memorable, they mix things up, they truly feel random and change playthroughs and walks through the waste. And yeah, I'd like to see that more, because I feel like no other Fallout game has done that as well. I feel like every other Fallout game is a bit more predictable, whereas Fallout 3 felt like anything could happen in the wastes.
Yeah. And the first-person perspective helped with that a lot, too.
Yeah.
Even though the classics had a few, like...
Mm-hmm. I think the classics come closest to it.
They do, yeah. Because, like, whenever it came up, it was, instead of the lightning bolt symbol, it would be, like, a circle around it. You're just like, oh, what is it? Kind of thing. Because it would give you a few seconds to realize what was happening. And that feeling of excitement was, like, still good. But then, like, if it's Fallout 2, it's like, oh, the Cafe of Broken Dreams moved here now. Because that's a location that just moves, and it's just like a callback to Fallout 1. You can get dog meat there, which is cool, but that's pretty much it. The rest is just seeing NPCs complain about their existence in a very meta commentary way. From the classic games, dude, the car that runs,
yeah,
that'd be cool. I know why, but that doesn't have working cars, but that doesn't change my want for it. Let's see. I would like mash up Fallout 1 and 2, because 2 is just a broader version of 1, whereas 1 is like a really nice self-contained story. I think Fallout 1 could be treated like one of the DLCs for like Fallout 3 or Fallout 4, in kind of like in scope, I guess.
Okay.
In how long it actually takes out of your time in comparison to Fallout 2, which is triple, perhaps quadruple the length of that game. We already talked about the durability system in Fallout New Vegas, but specifically for like survival-y stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say for New Vegas, ammo. There's a lot of different types of ammo which truly
ammo
are
types,
different,
yeah.
which I quite like.
Or get this, truly unique weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Unique looks, unique name, unique backstory most of the time. Actual unique weapons. Please bring them back. Not just legendary trash.
I will say one thing from a 76 that I thought of is like the plans and recipes you find out in the world. I quite like that rather than just knowing how to mod everything or needing perks to mod everything.
Yeah. Dude, 76 did quite a few things. Like as it's gotten updates too. Quite a few things that are nice. Area looting.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's real great.
Area looting is brilliant.
Let's see.
76 does a lot of stuff. I feel like we can go too long on it. So I might just say no more 76 stuff.
Okay.
Because it has improved so many things.
Okay. The loot menu from Fallout 4.
Loot menu from Fallout 4, yeah. What game haven't we mentioned yet? All the little spin-off ones. Okay, Fallout Shelter, there's a quiz you get to do as one of their missions. That's quite fun. I'd like to just have a random wastelander come and quiz you. That'd be good.
That'd be funny. Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. Balls Garana. I'm just kidding. Ripper gauntlets. I can't believe no other game has had those.
New Vegas got close.
They got close, like but they're definitely like explosive and shocking and sound wave based, or sonic based. What else do we have left?
We've got tactics.
Tactics. Oh my god, what would I bring up in tactics?
Might be the only one. I'm trying to think about something squad based, but I don't really know enough. Do you get to like pick perks for each squad member in tactics? Do you get to level each of them individually?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like that for followers.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
that would be good.
Being able to level your followers in specific ways.
Have that. But do it like other games where you have full control of other characters. Give it an automatic option too, where like they have a preset path of progression, or you can customize it completely yourself. If you're more familiar with the game. Tactics also had a lot more vehicles.
Yeah. We'd already done the vehicles one though, so I was like, let's not maybe have a giant.
That one had a tank though too, where you could fire the main gun.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a bit much.
No.
All right.
I want to shoot a tank around. Okay.
Let's move on to another question.
To the post.
Because
we're out of questions on the video. Back to the community post. So Chad, we answered 2 of Chad Harger's questions. The cheater. Do you want to do Sven's question?
I'm fine with Sven's question personally.
Okay. I want to hear your answer and then copy off your homework.
No.
Sven4402 says, while this isn't related to BGS games, it's related to the podcast. Now and then, when discussing the recent events and news in the gaming industry, you and Sarge will provide commentary that gives a peek under the hood of your political beliefs. This is never elaborated upon, which makes sense since it's a gaming podcast, but I would be interested in knowing more, both to fuel my parasocial relationship with the sexy Briton and irresistible Californian, just a guess based on your accent. Well, thank you. And to contextualize some of the previous and future commentary. I'm Oregonian currently, so Pacific Northwest, close. But a lot of us on the West Coast tend to have very similar accents, just as a heads up. California, Oregon, and Washington are all like kind of on that hipster strip. Yeah. That's what I'm going to call it.
Whereas in England, you do drive for an hour and the accent has changed. Because why not?
Yeah, we have to drive more than 4 hours.
The people on the same street as me have different accents to me. Yeah, I'm happy to answer this. Okay. I don't know. I'm really not a political person.
I mean, like you said in your comment, Sven, it's not really what the podcast is about. But I know I could easily rant into a political discussion, but I'm also not very knowledgeable in such things, and I would say something stupid.
Yep.
And have to heavily edit because of that, or publish it, which is worse.
Oh. If anyone does want to know my beliefs and ideologies, Final Fantasy IX has a bunch of splash screens with the characters and like quotes for them.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I try and live my life based off of those.
Yeah.
Because early on I decided those are a good set of morals to go for.
They are.
Let's go with that instead of people.
Yeah. How do I know I'm real?
Yep.
Just in case I am.
Exist? That's Sorrow from. No, not Sorrow. Is Freya Sorrow? 1 second.
To be forgotten is worse than death is Freya's. I remember that one word for word, because that's
Sorrow on Vivi.
It's Vivi. Already getting into the weeds on just Final Fantasy IX stuff.
My sister printed them out for me a while ago. Yeah, it's Sorrow, how do you prove that you exist, maybe when don't exist, is Vivi's. Virtue, which is the main one, which is Zidane, who says you don't need a reason to help people.
Yep.
Then we've got Arrogance from Amaranth. The only dependable thing about the future is uncertainty. Despair from Freya, which is to be forgotten is worse than death.
Yep.
Indulgence from Quina. I do what I want, you have problem. Which, yeah, I live my life by that.
Quina's great.
You got a problem. Solitude. I don't want to be alone anymore. Devotion. Someday I will be queen, but I will always be myself. Bet you all didn't know I was in line to be queen.
Yeah.
And Dilemma. Having sworn fealty, must I spend my life in servitude.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my political opinions.
Yep.
All right. Anything else to add, or are we moving on to the next one?
No, I think that's it. Thanks for the question, Sven, but for the sake of this parasocial relationship that we are fostering right now and enabling, yeah, I don't know. Join the Discord. Join our Discords. We're way more interactive on those than here anyway. Okay, next one.
Yep, Jammin' P. Rose says, what's your least favourite weapon in the Fallout series and why? Acid Soaker in Fallout 4, real disappointing, but it's not good.
Yeah, well, wow. Yeah, that just brought back some memories. You said weapon in general.
Yeah.
So I will grab from another in Nuka World and say the paddle ball.
Yeah.
The weapon,
like
quote unquote weapon with the most mods that is the least useful of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel in general for both of us, it'll be like, oh, that's unique, that's different. Oh, it sucks. That's going to be disappointing for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, we could have said, like, the .32 pistol. Because that's just, you know, a bad weapon. But it's fine. It's just a generic weapon to be out there. No problem.
Well, while we were recording, I brought up the Shurong Chinese pistol too, right?
Yeah, you brought up that.
It's like, great idea, worst execution ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when we see the potential and it's not being met that I feel like we're most annoyed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're pretty much fine.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, that was a nice quick one.
Yeah, thanks, Champion Rose.
Go for the next one. It's long.
It's the long one. Do you think this is actually a good question though too. TFC Games 191 asks, do you think the reason for less uniques in the newer Fallout games is because of the weapon mod system? Everybody blames the legendary system for killing uniques, but I personally think it's because when you add new weapons to the game, it also has to have its own mods, increasing the workload needed to add them. After all of the uniques in Fallout 4, a few are melees, so no mods. A strange number of them are big guns, which don't get any mods to begin with, and the Deliverer, which has significantly less options than the standard 10mm pistol. If Starfield does have more uniques, I don't expect them to be very modifiable. This is a point that I don't think about enough, so it's a great question.
Yeah, very good question.
Sarge, what are your thoughts?
So I think what you've said here, there is a lot of truth in it. Where if a unique, especially if a unique is visually very, very distinct, more so than just like a skin put over a standard weapon, if it's visually very distinct, then the mods as well, because they visually change the weapon, you've got to change that. It's not just changing numbers in like the back end. You also have to come up with an entirely new design for it. Whereas if it's just like the same sort of thing, if the Deliverer was instead just a 10mm pistol, slightly reskinned, then I think it'd be a lot easier to have all the same mods. So I do think there certainly is something in that. But if you did have a bunch of uniques which essentially just looked like reskinned versions or had very minor differences, then I think you could still have a lot of uniques. So I think there's definitely the opportunity to still have truly unique uniques that do look different and perform differently and still make them moddable, but you are much more restricted that way. You can't go for a completely different redesign with it. You basically do just have to make the same weapon, give it a unique skin, and an effect which changes things.
I don't think I have much to add to that, because it is a weird... No, I do actually. One possible alternative that Fallout 4 itself also had was unique mods.
Yeah.
But only a few. There was only like a handful of them in Fallout 4. It was like a half idea that they were just like, okay, let's try this. Krem's Tooth was like the main one that people go to, because it's a really cool looking blade that can go on any machete. But it comes with its own, machete type, but you can pull that mod off and it converts whatever you add it to into something that's modified with the Krem's Tooth blade. If that was the solution, just a different type of mod for that type of weapon, and the existence of that weapon would just be, ported over to the new, I don't know how else to say it, would be ported over to the one that you do use, or
I like that idea.
the thing that makes that weapon unique is that one particular mod, and then once that's taken off, it suddenly just becomes a generic version. I think that would actually be a good kind of compromise to that problem.
Yeah. I do think with what you've said about or what TFC Games, I should say specifically, has said about the legendary system for killing uniques, I think it's more so a case of, because there's the legendary system, there's less work needed to be put into trying to make uniques unique. Like, they've got an alternative that they can do instead.
Yeah.
So it's...
And the alternative takes less work.
Yeah.
Or the current...
Well...
the legendary system takes less work because it generates the loot instead of having to handcraft everything. I also wonder if, I don't know, now I'm just theory crafting here, but I wonder if a paint job could travel with a mod too, where like as soon as you attach a mod, it develops a specific paint job that unique previously had as well. Which we did see, like going through and looking at the Starfield footage when I asked Dane Olds, the lead weapon designer, if there were uniques, and he said, there are several that are shown in the video. So I did look closer, and there are some with like scratch marks on certain parts of the guns that would only be on that particular weapon. But it could be, a mod also doing that. So it may already be a thing, but we don't, we got to experience it to really find out.
Yeah.
Either way, the broadness of the legendary system needs to be tuned, like we've been saying for, I don't know how long at this point, since Fallout 4 came out, maybe, into something that's not the RNG monstrosity that a lot of looter shooters tend to go along the lines of, and make everything just not special at all. Just
I want more than a 0.0000003% chance of getting the weapon I want.
Yeah.
Still, so a good, like, interesting thing to bring up with the mods. I appreciate that as a question. Nice little different.
If I could mega heart, I would mega heart this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go on to what is the penultimate question now.
Ooh.
From Travis Fletcher, who says, "What is your favorite mechanic that was only in one Bethesda game or only in one game of the Bethesda franchise?" And I mean, I feel like I'm gonna be just retreading some stuff I've said before, because immediately I go to Fallout 4 with, depending on how broadly we're going with mechanic, either the survival mode as an optional thing they have there, or like the 76 with plans and recipes.
Yep.
Because while there technically was a small amount of that in previous games, it's just a great system for like limiting unlocks and doing it in a way that isn't level dependent but is exploration dependent. Especially because with plans and stuff, you can make a whole bunch of them, like, you can get this randomly, but then put a few really valuable ones in specific locations, which I love and want to see implemented really well in the future. Because in 76, it's kind of not wasted, but the game's a lot more RNG focused. Whereas in a single player game, you can put them very much in a specific place to be picked up once by one player.
Yeah. This one's hard for me because, man, I would go back to the classic Fallout games, but those aren't Bethesda games.
That's true.
Bethesda owns the IP.
Or only in one game of the Bethesda franchise, and I guess Fallout is now a Bethesda franchise. So I guess you can do it.
Oh, we're weaseling through the question to get my answer. In Fallout 2, you can kick in doors.
That is fun. Asgore approved.
Yeah. So, dude, if you don't go with lockpicking, make it a strength check. Freaking
yeah.
Strength is an attribute we've had throughout the whole series. Let us use it to break stuff.
So annoying being in power armor and having a flimsy, half-broken wooden door in front of you, and you're like, I can't find a way in.
Yeah. Tactics allowed you to also go prone.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. I would kind of like that. Like, if not just for like, sniping purposes, but also I would want some claustrophobic type places, and finally the character's hitbox being considered when we're trying to get into things.
Yep.
Because it really never has been in Bethesda games. No. Like, you can't crouch under stuff.
I mean, there's a few things you can crouch under, but very few.
Yeah, whereas like going prone and being able to crawl around on your belly to like ultra stealth, like I think that'd be sick.
One thing that Fallout afforded in a tiny amount as well was destructible environments, where like fences and stuff you could shoot away and boxes. I mean, it's such a small amount of that, but it never really factored into anything.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see that expand upon in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We're going to be on the final question now. So, Caedo, do you want to read the last one that's at the bottom?
Man,
we've already answered.
This is a huge one. Yeah. Mist in Furnace 919 asks, what got you into making videos in the first place? Sarge?
I don't have a good memory. I know I did like some editing back when I was at high school, and the one memory I have is a line of computers, and I was editing on all of them simultaneously because none of them could keep up.
Whoa.
So I was doing different sections of a video on each one and
that's weird.
Going between chairs. Yeah. I remember that. So clearly I've always been like down for editing and stuff. I think I just decided to make videos because I was like, I want to get a gaming PC so I can play these games that I like. And I saw plenty of people that are making videos, and I think there was quite often where I was like, I can do that. I think we've already done something nice about them, so I feel like this won't be classed as me throwing too much shade, but I watched Fudge Muppet back in the day, and their character builds, and I'm pretty sure quite often I was like, I'd have changed this to that, or I'd have done this slightly differently, or I think this would be better. And like, this isn't me being like, God, what terrible videos.
Yeah.
It was me being like, I think I can do my own version of that, and there's things I'd want to change on that. And then I just made some videos, because I wanted to.
You're being so nice and careful to Michael and Scott.
I mean, there was nothing malicious in how I was doing it as well. It wasn't like I went, oh God, those guys are idiots.
I mean, I can back you up on that too. They're great dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they are lovely.
It's just a delight. So you had like some official editing education then.
I wasn't taught to edit. I was told to edit like a small video one time.
Oh,
I'm entirely self-taught on the editing.
Oh, was it this? You're good with computers. Can you edit this? Was it one of those?
It was. I can't remember all the details, but it was for like A-level media studies, and we were doing like a fake band, and like some kind of. I think it was like making market material for a fake band. So I decided to do a video. I think I got one of my friends to put their face in flour so it looked like they were doing drugs. And we filmed at a friend's house, and then I edited it together, and we were a punk band. I know we had a great pun name as well. But yeah, it was just putting together some stuff like that. Something I've always done is had much higher goals than I'm able to reach. So I'm pretty sure I was also going to write and perform and digitally create an entire song for it as well. But pretty sure I wouldn't have done that. But yeah, it was just like, hey, a video is one of the things you can do as well as like posters and stuff. And I wanted to do a video. I had good ideas. I had some fun jokes I was going to put in. Like, I've always liked videos. Plus, I've always been into like behind the scenes and stuff of film and cinema. And where I live is not a place where like film and cinema is a huge thing, which is weird considering I live at the birthplace of television.
Whoa!
Television was first successfully like done here.
Wow.
Yeah. And yet we've got nothing to do with like TV or anything.
Sarge, I thought America did everything. You mean to tell me that the Brits invented something before America did?
Yeah, John Logie Baird, right? The Scottish inventor who was down in Hastings, got his first successful television-like thing where an image went from like that to another screen, and then was kicked out because it's Hastings, you know? It's just how it works. We even had that as like part of his like stuff. It's
just so everybody knows, I was doing a bit, by the way.
Yeah.
Ignorant American is a bit.
Oh wow, it was also almost exactly 70 years before I was born.
Wow. Wow. Television, man. Am I right?
Yeah.
And we're already past that now with streaming.
Yeah.
TVs are getting smart. Too smart, in fact. They have their own
So
memory
smart.
chips.
Oh god.
Yeah. They're gonna tell us what to watch soon, if they haven't already.
I mean,
With their
that's
scary
just
robot
algorithms.
voices. Yeah.
Netflix always tells me what to watch.
Okay. Well, my answer to the question, it might be a little complicated. What got you
I mean,
into
mine was so
making
simple.
videos in the first place? Okay, so the first video on my old channel, Draconus the Third, wonder why I changed my name a little bit, DRACONOUSIII. If you want to look at it yourself, it's got a Skyrim
Oh my
screen
God.
cap as the avatar.
One very quick aside, which I'd forgotten until you said that, that's brought up old memories. I was the YouTube guy at my high school before that.
Oh,
People knew me as the YouTube guy.
Whoa.
I got popular on YouTube by a channel which is fully deleted. I was asked to delete it. There was drama. I was involved in YouTube drama before it was popular.
Oh my god!
But like as a young teenager, I made just some dumb videos. I don't think I can say a lot of stuff because I don't want Caedo's channel to be flagged by me saying certain words. But I had to erase all evidence of that channel ever existing. But yeah,
I see.
I was into videos before this channel. I had several channels before this that I forgot
see.
about.
Okay, so to share, my first upload to YouTube as Draconus the Third was January 4th, 2008. It was just filming an exploit that somebody was doing on a WoW private server I was helping host, or GM, and he was one-shotting a boss with his elemental shaman. I was like,
Yep.
all right, that's an exploit, clearly. It was just proof of me banning him, basically. So a lot of my initial videos were like gameplay with music videos. It's the music I really liked at the time. It's before, copyright ID really kicked off. But a lot of private server stuff, I didn't really take it too seriously. Like the editing was so minimal. It was made with like Windows Media Maker. Like it was bad. It's like super bad. And you can look at it. It's bad.
Yeah.
But then I discovered a game called Cabal Online. It's a free to play that's probably still going. The second game exists. But after finding some good tunes on OC Remix and really enjoying the certain character and class I was playing in Cabal Online, I decided to make a really cool music video about my character being a heavy wizard, which is something that at this point isn't really allowed because armor pieces have class specifications on them, whereas before they didn't. So I was wandering around as a wizard with warrior armor, essentially. It really jacked up my stats, but it looked cool. So I made this video with cool transitions, text you couldn't read, different footage of different dungeons and stuff like that. With a definitely legitimate copy of Corel Video Studio that I definitely got officially, correctly, with my own money. Definitely did. So I uploaded it to YouTube, and then it got a surprising amount of views for like the type of video that it was. And I have a feeling it was largely the song that was used because it's a banger. But that was the first moment where I was just like, I can like edit now. I can like do stuff. And that was largely like where I started self-teaching kind of how to edit and stuff like that. But I wouldn't like straight up make videos until, or make the videos I do now until way later. And I started my new channel, Caedo Genesis, as you know me by, at like the end of 2012. So yeah, 2013 was the year it kind of started. And then once I made a Skyrim video that was like You know, OC Remix song, also like really cool, like kill move footage and stuff like that, really awesome. But then I started getting into like the guide space kind of thing and made some basic Digital Quest guides. You can find them on the channel. You just scroll the way back to the beginning. They were not good, but they were my first guides that I ever did in video form. And I knew I was kind of going on the right track, because as soon as I picked up Fallout 3 again and looked at it as a source of something I could create guides for, during that time, which was roughly 2013, 2014, there were not very good Fallout guides out there. And I will trash talk quite a few of them, not by name, obviously, but one in particular kind of stood out, and that was William Strife stuff, the guest we've had on before, because he had experience, like aggressive experience in Premiere and stuff like that, so his videos were very eye-catching. He presented the information in a pleasant way, kind of thing. His voice is buttery smooth, all of those things. So I was like, oh, I could take a little inspiration from this, try to do my own thing. And then I started making the Fallout 3 guides, and the rest is history. It would become like a long epic if I kept talking. So
yeah,
there's that's generally how it got started. Also in high school, I used to take meticulous notes on the games I was playing. So there's also that. Like, I've been a note taker in that sense since like junior high to high school. I've enjoyed that aspect a lot, and that's why it's my niche. All the questions we had, I think.
That's all of them.
Yeah.
That was quite a few in the end.
Yeah. Thanks, Mist and Furnace, and everybody who asked questions. I really appreciate those of you who asked them. Maybe we'll do another one of these like 5 years from now.
We'll see.
A year from now, maybe post Starfield kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. When we both have over 1 million subscribers.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. So help us get there by promoting this podcast. I'm not very confident.
One more month, and then we're actually working on stuff which will get traction.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, but in the meantime, when there's nothing really important to work on, what have you been doing?
Let's pick one, because we're well over 2 hours.
Okay.
Caedo has been playing Remnant 2. I know what you're thinking. Caedo, you said you hate Souls-likes. Why are you playing Remnant 2?
That's not what I was thinking.
Okay. Well,
I was thinking about ham and cheese crumpets.
Oh man, those sound pretty bomb.
Yeah.
Why are you bringing up food right now, Sarge? We're at the end.
Sorry.
I gotta make it. So I really enjoy not just the vibe, but also the simplicity of how Remnant kind of presents itself, and the ability to just reset a run if it's not going your way, and changeable difficulties. Souls-likes don't have that, I believe, or Souls games, I should say, don't really have that, I don't think. I think they just have one difficulty, which is a main sticking point for people who like accessibility options. Which I agree with. More accessibility means more gamers. I don't know what else to say. Like, I've just enjoyed the modular, I'm going to use the word modular again, for the modular like level building system that the game has, where like one run can be completely different from another run. Your buddies can get items in a different order than you can, and then you can compare notes and be like, oh, where'd you get that thing? That's pretty sick. And then be like, oh, I got it in this biome. Good luck. This kind of thing. Sarge, you and I played Remnant from the Ashes together.
We did.
A little bit of it. And that was fun. That one also, only at the end, felt like a Souls-like to me. Whereas Remnant 2 does have the learning boss mechanics kind of thing that Souls-like games are known for. Like, you show up at a boss, get one shot, then you start learning over time like what their movesets are and kind of thing. But Remnant is a lot Remnant 2 is a lot more forgiving in that sense, where first of all, the checkpoint is right outside the boss room every time. Second of all, you don't lose anything except time. Like, it's I dare say more forgiving than how Monster Hunter does things. So I guess if you like things like Monster Hunter and learning, the ins and outs of how the enemies move, tracking a big monstrosity and taking it out, and learning its moveset so you can dodge around, stuff like that, and iframes and whatever. Also a very intricate and interesting story per biome, like wondering what happened when it came to the apocalypse in this place, because it's not just one apocalypse that happens, it's like a cross-dimensional apocalypse, which is pretty cool premise too, which also allows the developers to do whatever they want when it comes to worlds, because you just use a crystal, you go to another dimension. But yeah, so far having a lot of fun playing with Nelsar, dude I have a lot of highlights with at this point, and we have a lot of fun, and I do recommend it. If you like that kind of game, I haven't really said what kind of game it is besides the Souls-like thing, so whatever. If I hate Souls-likes and like Remnant 2, I don't know, try it, I guess.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Sarge?
Couple of things. Grand Theft Auto 5, beat it yesterday.
Nice.
Have some notes. First off, the game goes from, hey, you've got the biggest heist, you've got all the money, you can now spend it and do what you want, instantly pretty much into, here's the endgame thing to do. I feel like there was a whole bit earlier where people were like getting happy and things were calmed down. That would have been the point to have done the big heist and give you a bit of time to enjoy the money, because I found I just suddenly had a bunch of money, I bought the properties, there was nothing for me to do.
Oh.
Like, yeah, the post-endgame kind of sucked, and I feel like it could have very easily been reworked to make it so that you had the money for more time, because most of the missions in the game give you no money and require a lot of work, and you're basically just poor for 90% of the game, then really rich for the last 10%, and then there's nothing to do which you haven't already done. I feel like it could have been balanced more. Something that's even worse, though, are the guides online for Grand Theft Auto 5. So many of them are terrible. Just flat out giving incorrect information. I read up a guide on the stock market thingy for what to do before a certain mission, and it told me the wrong stock to invest in. It gave me, there were like a couple of companies that you're affecting, one of their stocks goes down, the other one goes up. It told me to invest everything in the one that goes up, or the one that goes down, sorry, as if it were the one that goes up. So this was the first guide I went onto as well, so I was like, yeah, I'll just do that. And I lost all my money. Fortunately, it was towards the start of the game I did this, so it wasn't a huge amount, but it was very annoying when they literally got the answer 100% wrong, the complete opposite of what it could be.
Yeah.
And then at a point where I was tracking down some characters, there was another guide which told me to go to a certain area, and the character was not in that area. They were in a completely different place. They just got the location wrong, but were like, this is where you go. And there was a lot of this. Just guides that gave incorrect information quite consistently. Just bad.
So what you're saying is you're going to make GTA 5 guides?
No, I've uninstalled the game. I'm done with it. I put like 50 hours in, I think. So I put in a good amount of time. I got like 80% completion, I want to say, maybe just under. So I did plenty of stuff, but yeah, not much to do in the end. The guides hindered me rather than helped me, and I ended up just doing my own trial and error to work things out and gave up on all guides because they were useless towards the end. But yeah.
Yeah.
And another game I uninstalled is Skyrim.
Oh!
My not anymore most recent, but most recent before the video that went up yesterday is Goodbye Skyrim. I've uninstalled Skyrim, I'm not going back to it. I'm so fed up and done with it. I don't want to play Skyrim anymore. It's been so long, and people keep being like, no, you should play more Skyrim. You should make the exact same content again and again and again. And I've put my foot down. I've said no.
So I
lost.
Uninstalling it is more symbolic too than anything, right?
Yeah. I lost about 50 subscribers
Wow.
Because I specifically told people, hey, unsubscribe if you're only here for Skyrim.
Yeah.
So I was actually very glad to see a bunch of people unsubscribe at that point. Because hopefully it means I can take my channel in a different direction, which is going to be Starfield for a while. Because, no more Skyrim. Skyrim's done. I don't want to go near it. And that's it.
Well, congratulations, Sarge, for breaking the pattern of Skyrim forever.
No more Skyrim. Well, just like I've said goodbye to Skyrim, I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. That was the podcast.
Yeah.
Leave your comments, and it might be a comment of the cast. Join us in 2 weeks' time where we'll talk about whatever happened that we don't know yet because it's in the future.
Oh, thanks to Wasteland Legends, Sven and Rose. Bye!